Hello, Justin Timberlake. Hi, my name is Omar Gonzalez, and I recently did a photo shoot with a kid that wanted to recreate this Justin Timberlake photograph. So as many of you know, I photograph a lot of bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and a lot of times they need decor shots. This is like my favorite thing at the party. An inspirational photograph that actually exists, like a famous person, and they use the shots for decor shots. Let me show you an example of that. So here's an example of an Adele shoot for a kid. We did 2 album covers, and you can deconstruct the lighting. Like, for example, here in the Adele shot, we can see that the light is very high over her head, and we have a very big shadow here. And so I didn't want to do that with my kid because this is a little extreme, this lighting. But as you can see, they used the photograph for a little CD giveaway. And then we also did this Adele 19, which they also use as a CD. So it's very, very cool. Now, although my work is not in a museum, I love seeing it at a mitzvah on the wall. You know, sometimes on these large prints. Okay, back to Justin. Okay, so the inspiration photograph for Justin Timberlake is from the 2020 album, because this mitzvah will be in 2020. What we want to do is deconstruct the lighting. And when you're looking at a photograph and you want to work backwards at what the lighting is doing, there's 2 quick ways that you can figure it out. Number 1 is shadows, and number 2 is catch light. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, a little deconstructing light practice. So here the hint is her eyes, her pupils are really small. So we know this is a continuous light. It's also a harsh light source because you can see the shadow is very, very, very dark. What they did was they broad light her here. They broad lit her. So there aren't any shadows anywhere. So that means that the light is directly on her. This right here is a much softer light. You can see the shadows are not as harsh. They're kind of softer. And this is a big light source that's probably close to this gentleman here. Bam! This one's easy. Just check the catch lights in the eyes. That looks like a beauty dish or a large umbrella. And the light is very, very nice and soft. Very hard light source, probably a speed light or something even, but you can see in the catch light there's just a tiny dot. So to me this looks almost like a tiny speed light or a mono light with no modifier on it. Oh, Dwayne Wade, yeah. So this is using the bright sunlight. You could tell by the shadow on his feet. They're using the sunlight as a backlight there. And just by the look of no shadows and very soft light, they're either using a big reflector, just reflecting the sun back onto them. Maybe a gold reflector of some kind. They have beautiful color. Or maybe they pop a big, huge umbrella with some lights. Nice little sparklies there. This kid in the commercial, this is window light. You could see the shadows aren't that great here. The light is kind of a mess. So this is uncontrolled. Hey, we just needed to take a picture of this kid in a room. It could be a big light source if it's far. Even if there's a little dot in the eyes, that could be a large light source that's very far away. And these women may be separate and photoshopped later, but if they are together or some of them are together, you could take a big light source and pull it back, and each of them will be lit evenly. But by the look of the catch light, it looks like their catch light's totally in the same place for all of them, so they probably were done separately. Great shadow though, very nice soft shadow there. Boom, beauty dish, baby. Me. Hi there. And last one here, this looks like it's total natural light. There's barely any catch light in the eyes. The light is just all over the place, very soft. So this to me looks like just ambient natural light. All right, so if we deconstruct this is my big hint. 1, there's a little catch light in his eyes, which tells me it's a small light source. And also, this shadow right here is pretty crisp. It's a very crisp shadow. And the distance of the shadow, the size of the shadow is pretty small. So that means that the light is not high up, because if it was higher up, it would leave a bigger shadow, like Adele. And it's not straight on, because that catch light is not in the center of his eye, and he has no shadow. That's if the light is straight on. So we know it's either a large light source that's far away or a tiny light source that's pretty close. You can kind of get the same look between those two. My guess is either a beauty dish or some sort of umbrella. But I kind of, when scrolling through a bunch of pictures, got to see he was wearing sunglasses in one of the pictures of the photo shoot. And it looked like a smaller umbrella, like a 32-inch octabox of some kind. So I cheated. So one of the things that I need to do with my clients is set up a portable studio quickly for these shoots. And so I always practice beforehand at home to get my lighting squared away so that I'm not trying to figure things out in someone's home. And so I will always use the head. If you didn't see my video on how to get a head in photography, we'll link it up below. Okay, so from the Justin Timberlake inspiration photo, we can tell that the white background is completely blown out. To do that, you want to light up your background. Okay, so for my backlights here, I'm using two speed lights that are flashing and lighting up the white background. And the thing that we want to do is we kind of want to flag that light. You don't want your speed light to light up the entire room, so I put them in these little mini strip boxes without grids, okay? I don't have grids on them. And they will light up the background nice and evenly. For my main light, I'm using my 47-inch umbrella, and I'll put links up for all the stuff below if you're interested to know what the gear is, but it's not about the gear. And the thing I was trying to figure out in my living room here is how high do we need to put the light up? Now, I didn't know how tall the kid was because I hadn't met him yet, so it was all relative to nose and chin height to see what I got. All right, so here we have the white seamless in the client's home. I've got a little gaffer's tape holding there. I also have a little mark where I want my subject to stand. This is a speed light that's not set up in the little, these are the two little strip boxes there. This one strip box will go here. This one will be moved to the other side to light up the background. And here is my main light, and that's where my subject will be. All of this took about 15 minutes to set up by myself. After turning on all my lights, I then tested the background to make sure it was lighting up evenly. I didn't want any weird shadows or anything. And to do this, I turned off all the lights and took an ambient room shot to make sure that none of the weird incandescent lights were falling on our photograph. Sometimes you can get some of the light to fall on there and you can overpower it, but I pretty much shut off all the lights from my exposure using like f8 and ISO 100. That was enough to just kill the room lights. I know that it doesn't have to be super blown out because I could bring it out in Photoshop later if I need to. So here's our awesome Justin Timberlake. And in our first photo here, I was just testing to see the background. So my front light is a little low. I was testing with powers. You could use a light meter for all this stuff, but I find that you're not working with models. You are working with regular old families. And so you got to move quick, okay? This is not Justin Timberlake. And he did an amazing job, as you're going to see in a second, but we need to move fast. And so this whole shoot was about 15 to 20 minutes, okay? So we got to get our look from our inspiration photo pretty fast. So here he is, and this is just a test shot. His hair isn't even styled yet or anything. I just had him stand in. And I felt that the shadow under the nose, the light was a little too low here, as you can see. Here I raised my light just a tad, and I was finding that little Justin Timberlake shadow. And before we started doing our cool guy looks, we had a little bit of a warm-up. I had him moving around. Make your subjects comfortable in front of your camera, and you will have success. And so he looks awesome here. This could be forget the Justin Timberlake picture. He looks awesome here. Bam! After a bunch of work, I finally got a look that I really liked. He looks super cool. I could just imagine as the guests walk in, they see him, is like, whoa, it looks awesome. The lighting isn't exactly. I feel that they were a little harsher with my main light was about a 47-inch silver inside umbrella that was further back. I feel like they probably used a smaller, harsher beauty dish for the Justin Timberlake, but I don't own a beauty dish. You got to work with what you got. So it's close enough, and I know that I can make that shadow darker also in post, but he also didn't want to wear a tie, and I was like, you got to wear a bow tie. They didn't have a bow tie. We didn't want to go with a regular tie. So you can always take care of this stuff later. And so here we got him to look just like Justin Timberlake. Another thing I did was close up his jacket here. And I think it looks awesome. It's very contrasty, it's very punchy, and we got that very, high-key black and white look. And then what's great is once you have your inspiration look, we had a great time just shooting other photographs that they can use for the party. And the kid just had really a great time. And it's all about fun, people. But Deconstructing Light, look through magazines, subway posters and start looking, what did they do for the lighting? Thank you, Justin Timberlake. Thank you for being a part of my shoot.
One more song I couldn't. All right, I'll do it!
I'll see you guys next time.